Alright everyone, welcome back. Sakura asks me a question, her tone adorably mixed with petulance and anticipation.
そっか。待ってろ、セイバー。
I divine her desire for a midnight snack and a simple tray of tea and cookies that Fujin bought just for her, grinning wryly all the while. My magic circuit closes. Once the red-hot rod leaves my spine, I sigh in relief. My daily routine, which I've been neglecting lately, goes off without a hitch, to my surprise. Maybe it's thanks to my contract with Saber. I've always had a hard time forming my magic circuit, but it's easy now.
けど、作るのに1分かかってるようじゃ使い物にならない。
All I can do is strengthen something into a weapon. If I'm taken by surprise, I'd still be in desperate straits with no way to defend myself. If I could at least shorten it by half to about 30 seconds.
今度、遠坂に相談してみるかな。あいつなら、効率のいい魔術回路の作り方を知ってそうだ。
I don't know what she'll want in return though, so I can't just ask her on a moment's notice. I hear footsteps on dirt. They're slow and unhurried. It's midnight. The person who comes to the shed letting the moonlight guide her path is...
先輩、まだ起きてますか?
Sakura. The color of her face looks a little better. But my mind goes blank. Sakura is wearing something I haven't seen before. I take incomprehensible damage. They're clothes that Fujine gave her, but seeing Sakura out of her school uniform sends my head spinning.
先輩?
ああ、起きてる。さくらの方はいいのか。外、寒かっただろ。
はい。熱はほとんど下がりました。気分転換に外に出たら、こっちで物音がしたから、先輩かなって。
そっか。じゃあ、あとは暖かくして、ちゃんと寝るだけだな。うん。よかったよかった。
I light the stove I just fixed. Good. It turns on. It'll warm us up a little.
ほら、ここも冷えるけど、外よりマシだ。寝てばっかりで目が冴えてるんなら、話し相手になるぞ。
はい。それじゃあ、お邪魔しますね、先輩。
Sakura makes her way towards me with sure steps. I'm glad. She really does look like she's feeling better.
あったかい。ちゃんと治ったんですね、これ。
なんとかな。直し始めの頃はあんまりにもオンボロなんで、さすがに無理だってさじ投げてたけど。
そうですね。あんなの直すぐらいなら、藤姉が真っ二つにしたビデオデッキを直すぞって怒ってましたもん、先輩。けど結局、捨てられずに持ち帰ったんですよね。
いや、それは往生際が悪いのはこいつだけじゃなかったというか。
The stove was broken, but once I saw that it could be fixed, I just couldn't leave it alone.
先輩、一度いたら聞かないから。物分かりがいいようですっごく頑固なんですよ。
頑固かな、俺。
頑固ですよ。それにすっごく強引なんです。さっきだって私の話を全然聞いてくれませんでしたから。
Well then, Sakura's in an oddly good mood, even though she's scolding me. Not that I'm unhappy to see her in good spirits again.
悪い。さっきはカッとして考えが回らなかった。
そうですね。先輩、私と自分に怒ってて怖い顔してました。先輩には迷惑をかけてばかりですけど、さっきのは本当に悪いことをしたんだなって反省したんですよ。
Sakura is so gentle. she's still getting over her illness, but how do I put it? It isn't the usual Sakura that's trying to do her best in front of me. It's like I'm seeing the real Sakura.
それで少し子供の頃を思い出しちゃいました。私、子供の頃は家にこもってばかりで言いたいことも言えなかった。私が本当の気持ちを言わなければみんなうまくいくって思い込んでずっと黙ってたんです。けどそれじゃダメですよね。私は心配かけたくなくて黙っていたけど、それがもっとお父さんや兄さんを心配させてたんです。
そっか。けどさくらが親父さんや信者を大切に思ってたのは本当なんだから、さくらの気持ちだってちゃんと伝わってたんじゃないか。口にしなくても伝わることってあるだろ。
そうですね。そうだといいです。それで先輩はどうだったんですか？私、先輩が子供の頃の話あんまり聞いたことないんです。
俺？別に今と変わらないんじゃないかな。昼間は街中走り回って親父の飯を作って、夜はここでガラクタいじってた。
Feeling bashful, I scratched my cheek. It's a little embarrassing as a man to admit that my life hasn't changed since childhood.
わあ、街中を走り回ってたんですか？
そのパトロールの真似事。弱きを助け強きをくじくってのに憧れてたんだ。
My main battlefield was the park. I recall spending a lot of time there with other kids my age, picking fights with slightly older kids. I vaguely recall one of the kids who was really clever for their age, whom I saw as a devilish nemesis.
なるほど。いじめっ子から街を守ってたんですね。
さくら、笑顔で言われるとさすがに我が身を振り返っちまうからやめてくれ。割と恥ずかしい。
恥ずかしくなんかないです。私、子供の頃に先輩と会ってたらきっと子分にしてもらってました。私みたいな引っ込み思案には手を取って外に連れ出してくれる人がいないとダメなんです。
子分ってさくらな。
Ah, actually, I bet Sakura would have trained with me daily if we'd known each other as kids. I can definitely imagine my younger self shouting motivational phrases at her as we ran alongside the riverbed or meditated in the dojo. Anyone watching us would have seen us as a boss and a minion. Then Sakura would have grown up big and strong under my guidance like this. Or a devil in girls' clothing like this. I feel a sudden chill. Thank goodness she turned out so modest and graceful.
先輩。
まあちょっと頭が飛んでた。独り言なんで気にしないでくれ。
はい、それはいいんですけど、その聞きにくいことを聞いてしまっていいですか？
いいけど、なんだよ。
藤村先生から聞いたんですけど、先輩エミヤの家に引き取られた養子だって本当ですか？
あれ、言ってなかったっけ？藤姉の言う通り親父の養子だぞ俺。
先輩、それって。
いや別に隠し事じゃないし、その通りだし。さくらこそどうしたんだよ、そんなこと聞いて。
先輩は気にしてないんですか？知らない家にもらわれていっぱい嫌なこととかあったんじゃないんですか？
ああ、そりゃ藤姉の入れ知恵だな。まあ初めの1年はそう見えたかもしんないけど、あれはあれで辛くはなかったし、嫌なことなんてなかったと思う。
じゃあ楽しかったんですか？先輩 輩は。
This is the first time anyone's ever asked me that. After the fire, my first year with Kiritsugu was a difficult one, spent mostly recovering from my injuries. After that, I'd just been on the move day after day like I still am now. I followed Kiritsugu's footsteps to learn magecraft. Found meaning in helping as many people as I could and spent my days roaming the town. Can I truly say I enjoyed it? I never had the luxury of considering that question.
どうだろう。楽しかったかどうかはわからない。ただ、俺は親父みたいになりたかった。
それは藤村先生が言っていたような正義の味方にですか。
Sakura timidly asks, and I answer.
おかしいかな。
I feel bashful about it, but I say how I really feel.
いいえ、先輩は間違ってません。まっすぐでかっこいいです。
Her words are calm. Normally, they make me so embarrassed that I couldn't look her in the eye. But the sentiment goes straight to my heart and I feel like thanking her.
じゃあ、もう一つ聞きますね、先輩。もし私が悪い人になったら許せませんか？
That's some strong foreshadowing right there, Sakura.
え？
I'm taken aback by the sudden question, but if I consider it seriously,
さくらが悪いことをしたら怒る。きっと他のやつより何倍も怒ると思う。
I'd probably push everything else from my mind and scold Sakura in that case.
よかった。先輩にならいいです。
Sakura nods in apparent relief. Seeing her smile, I feel like this has happened before.
部屋に戻りますね。おやすみなさい、先輩。
Sakura returns to her bedroom. I watch her leave and get the odd feeling that I'm forgetting something. I go back to my bedroom. I slip into bed quietly to avoid waking Saber and close my eyes.
思い出した。
Finally, I realize what's been nagging at my mind. That's right, it was in the shed back then too. 2 years ago. No, a year and a half to be exact. It was 2 summers ago. Sakura had come over several times asking to help out around the house, and I turned her down each time. But she wouldn't back down. She showed up here every day, showing more stubbornness than I'd known she had. Eventually, I gave in. Her tenacity impressed me, and one day, I called her over to the shed to declare my surrender.
さくらには負けた。負けたからこれやる。
It was an old key. Kiritsugu used to use it, and it had been put away in the shed for years. I handed it over to Sakura. Sakura was shocked and vehemently refused it, saying she didn't deserve to have it. If memory serves, she insisted that she was too much of a stranger to hold on to even a duplicate of the key.
あのな、毎日手伝いに来るくせに他人も何もあるか。これからは好きにうちを使ってくれ。その方が俺も助かる。
I didn't take no for an answer and pushed it into her hands. That's when I saw it.
はい、ありがとうございます、先輩。大切な人から物をもらったのはこれで2度目です。
Sakura nodded, looking elated.
ああ、そうか。
That's what I was struggling to remember. Sakura always tries her best and her smile is always kind and gentle. But I haven't seen her look discontent since that summer day. Ryudo Temple. now a barren place since Castor's demise. The monks who collapsed due to an unknown illness all left the mountain, leaving the temple completely uninhabited. The gates are tightly shut to even residents of the temple, to say nothing of visitors.
ひどい匂いだ。鼻が曲がるどころの話じゃねえな。
A voice echoes in the empty temple grounds. His lithe blue form is illuminated by the moonlight. The muscular body without a gram of excess, and the long scarlet weapon belonged to the servant called Lancer.
おうキャスターがくたばったってのに結界は健在か。いや、醜悪さは以前より5割増し。これに比べればキャスターは上品だったな。
Lancer casually peers out over the temple grounds. He grips his crimson spear. Intelligence gathering and observation are his primary tasks. He isn't happy about it, but orders are orders. It's his policy to follow his lord's commands and deliver the result asked of him. Accordingly, he skirmished with several servants so far and disengaged each time. Lancer hasn't fought any battles on his own initiative, per his contract with his master. Tonight's scouting mission to Ryodo Temple is no exception. So he shouldn't need his spear. He can conjure his noble phantasm anytime he wishes. One would think it's unnecessary to be armed when there's no enemy to fight.
キーキーうるせえこと。キャスターは風使いと呼んでたんだが、水気の女だったのかね。雲だのカエルだの陰湿な輩が多いが。
He walks through the temple grounds. His manner appears utterly defenseless and unbecoming of a servant. So on guard is he that, on the off chance another servant is lurking nearby, he would surely perish in an ambush.
ああ、頭をすげ替えられたって線もあるな。ここは腐った小虫しかいない。持ち主不在の廃屋に救うのはお前たちの常套手段だ。
Lancer's foul mood doesn't lift. The blue-clad spearman admonishes someone who isn't present.
にしても一匹でかいのがいるな。どこの生まれか知らないが、山奥で獣と暮らしていた面してやがる。おまけになんだこりゃ、砂の匂いか。へっ、大雲かと思えば小汚い砂虫とはな。やだやだ。なんだってこんなしけた野郎の偵察なんかしなきゃならねえのかなった。
He bats aside a silver flash of light. With a single flourish of his spear, Lancer deflects 3 deadly darts from the darkness. The wicked dagger plunged into the ground. They are dirks, short knives made not for slicing, but skewering their unlucky target. Each was hurled with unerring accuracy at Lancer's 2 eyes and windpipe respectively.
いい腕だ。が、二度とはするなよ、砂虫。挨拶もなしで命を取られるのは趣味じゃねえし、何よりお前にとっちゃ命取りだ。
The muscled blue form faces the darkness. Something faintly shifts in the gloom of the shrine. A skull laughs, its bony facade as white as the moon. The battle commences without preamble. The white skull shrieks in no human tongue as it attacks Lancer, who meets it ambush with so much an twitching eyebrow. The skull's thrown dirks are on par with Archer's arrows. 30 in total are loose from the darkness at the very close range, and Lancer parries every single one effortlessly. The skull halts. That's strange. No matter how capable a spearman Lancer is, he surely can't have blocked every single one of the skull's daggers, each aimed precisely enough to thread a needle. Moreover, his opponent wields a pole arm. The dirks are into the spear blind angles and should have struck his opponent's vital points. So how could Lancer defeat every last one?
おい、まさかとは思うが、お前の芸はそれだけか。
Lancer's demeanor changes. He stops, and his merely curious hostility shifts to a determined intent to kill the skull.
ならこれでしまいだ。お前が何者か知らんが、まあその仮面ぐらいは剥がすとするか。
More daggers surge out of the darkness. Just as Lancer is about to advance on the skull, he's intercepted by a frenzied barrage. And that too is thwarted. With only a subtle movement of his spear, Lancer nullifies attacks he shouldn't even be able to see. The skull mask trembles. It doesn't speak, but it gulps down its next shriek, staring in disbelief at the enemy coming for its head. It aims another dagger for Lancer's throat between a gap in his spear's movements. The skull mask trembles. As Lancer's spear deflects the daggers, it spins in a neat circle in Lancer's hands, arching up into the attacking skull's jaw. Defense and riposte. Both maneuvers executed perfectly simultaneously. The skull has no way defending itself in mid-fight. The white mask falls. Lancer doesn't press the attack. His orders are to merely observe the enemy. Even if this is a golden opportunity to execute his opponent, he lacks the authority to make that decision.
バカが言っただろう。俺に飛び道具はうまくないと。忠告を聞かなかったのはそっちの方だぜ。
Lancer reorients the spear towards his enemy, which is hiding its face and calmly watches. A dark body. A right arm contained in bandages. Its face, once concealed by a white skull mask, is now shrouded in darkness and difficult to make out clearly. No, it would be closer to call it featureless, lacking obvious protrusions or depressions.
私の面を見たな、ランサー。
そりゃこれからだ。サーバントには違いないようだしな。どこの英雄かはっきりさせるとするか。
なるほど、余分な縛りがあったのか。道理で殺さないわけだ。
The servant retreats, cloaked in shadow. A dirk is clutched in its hand, its lethal intent towards Lancer undiminished.
やめとけ。生まれつきでな。目に見えている相手からの飛び道具なんざ通じねえんだよ。よっぽどのものじゃない限り、その距離からの投擲は効かねえぞ。
そうか、流れ屋の加護か。さすがは夏希の英霊。私などとは物が違う。
Shadows sway. The dark servant crouches down low like a spider. Then suddenly flings another dagger while leaping high into the air. If its high leap can be compared to that of a deer, then one might compare its frantic scurrying to that of a spider, snake, or scorpion. The servant flees, hiding its face. The speed of its flight is on par with Lancer, but Lancer's explosive bursts of agility are without peer. It would be unthinkable for him to need more than a moment to close in on his prey.
確かに喉を狙ったんだが、しぶといな。治ってるってわけじゃねえし、ありゃぶっ飛んでやがるな。
Lancer gives chase, his enemy skating on the wet surface like a water strider. His pursuit churns and splits the water in contrast with his target's elegant escape, but the water strider has no hope of outrunning him.
痛みで止まらねえんなら、付け根でも切りつければよかったか。他の連中には通じねえ手だからな。つい後回しにしちまったが。
For a human, the severing of one's limbs or major arteries is a critical injury. A laceration to the aorta, for instance, would cause catastrophic blood loss, leading to certain death in combat. But this logic only applies to a conventional battle between mortals. It is unrealistic to expect a servant, a mighty heroic spirit, to die of exsanguination. As they are powered not by blood but magical energy, injuring a major blood vessel would only amount to less effective secondary means of harm. It'd be a different story if one were to cripple all four limbs, but no servant is so easily immobilized. Any time wasted on less lethal immobilizing wounds could expose the attacker to a lethal riposte.
なるほど。だが痛覚を殺す手に頼るような英霊に治癒能力などあるまい。次の打ち込みで蹴りをつけるか。
Lancer crosses the body of water in a geyser gust. In 2 seconds, his prey will be in hand. In a flash, he moves to cleave the fleeing water strider from the left hip. Lancer immediately leaps in retreat. The water surface jumps. No, something in it bears its fangs. Dark thin tendrils chase Lancer into the air. It's as if the water itself attacks him. The spectacle brings to mind ancient horrors lurking in the ocean depths. Lancer has nowhere to run. He strikes the water with his spear and uses every rune he possesses to inscribe a bounded field into the lake bed, but it's easily consumed by its pursuer. Dark tentacles surround him, eating up his safe haven second by second. Activated fully in concert, his runes are powerful enough to defend against a greater noble phantasm, but they barely even manage to slow this thing down. Assassin cackles.
どうしたランサー。動かねば飲まれるぞ。
The water strider floats in the water, reveling in the sight. But it too is no exception from the tentacle's hunger. It doesn't dare approach the blackened water for fear of being consumed. It knows that the dark tentacles will instantly shift its attention to any new prey.
だがそうはいかん。お前を仕留めるのは私だ。未だ経験が足りないのでな。お前を打倒し、足りない知能を補わねば。
Light glints off the strider's dagger. It throws its dagger at the immobilized Lancer. Still, it is futile. Even while fully engaged with his bizarre foe, Lancer is immune to the projectile attack.
懲りないやつだ。まあ、強気になるのはわかるんだが。
Lancer observes the tentacles surrounding him. Assassin has lured him a considerable distance from shore. It's 30 meters to the nearest bank. He can easily cross the piddling distance in a single bound.
そこで動かなかったお前の負けだ。様子見も済んだ。ここらで引き上げさせてもらおうか。
Lancer's body sinks his spear, warping. He takes a great leap into the air with the aid of his spear, but then an utterly simple, straightforward attack is unleashed. A false heart emerges from Lancer's chest. From an impossible distance, still bobbing on the lake's surface, Assassin gouges out the spearman's chest. It is one of the purest forms of magecraft, the most simplified of curses. A cursed arm specialized in cursing humans, passed down through Middle Eastern magecraft. Assassin's noble phantasm, Zabaniya, delusional heartbeat. Wow. That was so cheap, but I get it. It destroys Lancer's heart without fail. The spearman's lifeless body sinks into the dark water. And once again, the luck of a Lancer never fails. The water dances. It rides in stimulation, restless, brutal, vulgar. The sight of a caged and starved beast throwing fresh meat would pale before this savagery. Countless dark tentacle-like appendages consume the man-shaped heroic spirit. Floating on the black lake, the faceless servant drinks something red in delight. Off to a new day. When I awake to the bright sunshine, my body feels completely recovered. Keep pressing that. My temperature is normal and my limbs don't feel heavy anymore.
6時前か。さくら、起きてるかな？
If she is, then she should be preparing breakfast.